And also, there's a restaurant in Seattle, the Carlisle Room, named after Brandy Carlisle.
I might be fascinated with her. Are we live? Okay.
All right.
She's good people, that Brandy Carlisle.
Hopefully, she doesn't get.
Annie, are you about done? Thank you. She always likes to kind of steal the show.
But
what are you making? Dumpling filling? You are not. For what? For something we're serving here? I thought you had integrity. Oh, pot stickers with ranch.
Sounds delicious. Right up my alley.
Last time I saw something like that was at Loretta's frat party when she was in college. Yes, it was.
They probably were not homemade either.
No, I make mine with the Pillsbury crescent dough.
Oh, my God. You remember the song of the day when we were back there with you and you're eating all that buffalo crap? Carly Rae Jepsen.
Oh, yeah.
All the high school football players were.
College.
Call me maybe or something like that.
Yeah.
College. Sorry.
Are you ready, Mr. Douglas?
You bet. Welcome to you all.
Yeah, welcome.
Code for the restrooms is 1225. Please use them if needed. We have a big team here today. We have Lars out front. Jacob is there doing prep for tomorrow's class. Is that right, Jake? Oh, I'm already done with that. I'm Mr.
Yeah,
Efficient.
I mean, some people come to work early.
Sean is over there. Eamon is in the back. And Kelty is right behind you there. He's going to be on the show today with his books here. And then the lookalike for Edna Mode, Annie Elmore, is back there too in her Yeti outfit.
Pointedly ignoring you.
Pointedly, there's nothing new about that. Okay, we've got about 2 hours. We're going to try and stay on schedule. And if you want to chat amongst yourselves, you're welcome to. Just not too loud. Okay. Anything else? You have any other questions? We're going to have lunch today. This is an unusual occurrence. I already made the gravy this morning. So the team is putting together a hot turkey sandwich lunch as an idea of what to do with some of those leftovers. I had 2 quarts of gravy left over. 2 quarts. That's like gold.
That's a lot of mishap. 2 quarts. That's a lot.
No, more people took home leftover turkey. I like to make soup out of my leftover gravy.
Sure.
Yep.
That makes perfect sense.
But then everyone took home the turkey. Who's been here before? I know Kathy has a few people. Good. Will you keep the others in line if they get out of line? You know, it can get wild in here. All right. Is that better? Can you hear me now? All right.
Okay, you only have one job, by the way. That's this job. Go ahead, try it. All right, you're doing good. That's awesome.
All right, welcome to the Hot Stove Society show on Cairo Radio. Got a full house today. We're excited to have everyone in for day after Thanksgiving. Hot turkey, mashed potatoes. Instead of dressing, we have grilled flaxseed toast and green beans. Is that right, Annie? We have green beans today with a little almonds and some of the Gravy God's sweet onion gravy. You might ask, who the Gravy God? Gravy. I've been wondering what to get a tattoo of on my personal body.
Gravy God?
I think Gravy God might be it.
You know,
Lars is going to get a medal made for me, a GG with a gold chain.
You know, there's at least one person who's not going to like that.
I know. There's somebody on our show that listens and says, she wrote us a note saying, "You're no God." Well, you're right. It's just a joke. Okay. Loretta is here in Pam's place today. My daughter is going to work the production side of the show. And I do believe that while we're doing this, we're expecting people to write a little question if they have anything that they want answered during that Ask the Chef's question. And then for those of you who would love to come be part of something here in downtown Seattle, the Figgy Pudding Market fundraiser for the food bank and for the senior center is happening on December the 2nd. And Pamela, our producer, is going to lead it.
Oh, wow.
lead this group, one of the groups. There's many groups that go caroling, and she would like you to meet her at on the December 2nd at 4:30 and join up. And they're going to practice. I imagine there might be a libation or two. They're going to practice and then go out and carol in the figgy pudding caroling competition
And where are they meeting?
at Seatown, which
Oh,
is down
cool.
there at the corner of Western and
Yeah, yeah.
Virginia. And so make sure you email her at PamelaH@TomDouglas.com, and you can join her team.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Here's the thing. She really needs the help. The more people that join her, the less she has to sing.
And the better it will
And the
sound.
better it's all going to be. No, I'm sorry, Pam. Pam's not feeling good today, and so I shouldn't be making fun of her.
That's a very sweet thing to put
By the way,
together.
I'm Tom Douglas.
And I'm
chef.
Terry Roturo, the chef in a hat.
We are chefs here in Seattle. We're happy to be here, and we are thrilled to have such a big and lively audience. Our hot stove partners here at the Hotel Andra, the beautiful Hotel Andra, are ready for the holidays. We hope you come join us for one of our radio show tapings, and you can get a seat at hotstovesociety.com. I will tell you, it's not always like this. Not only in the crowd size, but in what they're going to get for lunch today.
That's right.
We have a little later taping today, and they're getting a whole darn lunch.
Well, they're getting beautiful leftover, which is what today is good about.
There's too many for leftovers.
this
We have to-
weekend. This what's so great about this weekend. You're eating leftovers. It's great.
Our very own chef here at the Hot Stove, Celtic Clark-Mahoney, was contributing author to 2-volume book set, Food and World Culture. And we're going to have him on for a couple of segments to talk about it. It's a tome. There's
I know
two.
that-
Yeah, it's huge.
There's a lot to read there.
Okay. And then also remember, we're moving our taping days at the request of Cairo to Thursday mornings from Friday mornings. If
Right.
you want a ticket and you think you have the day off, think about it on a Thursday. Mike Salvatore is here from 58 Stars Travel. That's the guy you work with, right? When you
That's
do all
correct.
your
I haven't seen him yet. Where is he? Is he here?
oh, he's coming.
Oh, he's coming.
But he organizes all your travels.
He's actually the president of 58 Star Travels, which is the company that takes me around the world
Lovely.
with a group of people, of course.
With the group. And we're going to recap the highlights and bloopers and inspirations of your Thanksgiving leftovers. Our recommendations on Christmas gifts for the food-obsessed friends on your list. Of course, it must include Rub with Love,
Yes,
don't you think?
and the meat thermometer for sure.
And a meat thermometer. And of course, we're going to play our Food for Thought Rub with Love Tasty Trivia Challenge as our last segment. So, my taste of the week.
Go ahead.
I normally, I don't mean to be, but I can be a little bit negative.
A bit.
But
I'll
Like-
go with just a bit.
just a bit.
It's a big bit,
I have
but-
opinions. Not everything is perfect. So I went to a restaurant the other night and I had the special gnocchi, which was butternut squash gnocchi.
Very seasonal, yeah.
Yeah, and it was spinach. And so they made the gnocchi, which I thought was going to be butternut squash gnocchi, but it was just gnocchi with chunks of butternut squash in the sauce,
Oh,
and then over top of raw spinach.
what was in the gnocchi?
I think just a flour gnocchi.
Okay.
I don't know. I couldn't tell. But my point and what I'm kind of ragging on, and I love this restaurant, I go there all the time, is that sauce was like eating honey. Like it was so
too
sweet and kind of gross.
No
and-
vinegar, nothing.
no, just butter and sweetness. And it was sad.
Something you put on your pancake.
Yeah, it was more like a honey syrup on, and that shouldn't be in a savory environment.
Agree.
Okay. So don't do that. If you're at home making gnocchi with butternut squash,
Or just throw a big.
just do butter and sage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
just
put a
really
little
simple.
vinegar in there. That will definitely
Sure, vinegar will help a
change
lot.
it. Yeah, it will
So
drastically
that's
change
not my taste of the week. Don't do that.
it. That is your test of the week not to do. Yeah, I get
Not
it.
to do. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, for me, it's yesterday we had, for the first time, I didn't cook anything for Thanksgiving. First time in probably 30 years. Went to some friends with just 6 of us, and they bought the whole package from the University Club. Shout out to Jacob Hewlett, the chef over there. Great job. They cooked the turkey. We cooked the turkey. They cooked the turkey at home. And
They cooked it or warmed it?
No, they cooked it.
Oh, they just bought the sides from the U
They
Club.
bought the size and the turkey, but the turkey wasn't cooked.
You must hang out
Stan-
with bankers or
Stan
something.
and Ingrid,
Yeah,
that's who I
yeah.
was at, Savage, their house. And Stan cooked the turkey, perfectly cooked, moist, beautiful, nothing inside the turkey. I was like, oh, I hope it's not going to get, no, it was perfect. So big shout out to the instruction. It was a 3-page instruction that came with
Mhm.
all the goodies. Perfect instruction, halfway through. And Stan Stan is a banker. He's not a chef, and he followed the instruction to the letter, and everything came out perfect.
Nice.
And it's very rare. The only thing that was a little boo-boo was the gravy was, it needed another quart of chicken stock in
Was a little
about
thick?
2 cups of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was tons of gravy, and thank God she had a little chicken stock in her cupboard.
Yeah.
So
you fixed that up for her.
fix that up very quickly
Nice job.
and make
It
it.
seems funny, doesn't it, to go through the whole process of cooking a turkey, but you don't do any of the sides. It's just
I
warm
know.
it up. Yeah, seems funny.
No, and we had green beans, we had mashed potato, it was delicious. I just love this holiday of Thanksgiving, or just the fact of getting together and having this nice little meal. And I brought some great wine, and we had a fantastic evening. It was nice.
My daughter, who's our producer today, made a beautiful pumpkin pie, very chiffon-esque.
Thank you.
You were
You
You
had
were
a
a
lot to say
timid
about
baker.
it while I was cooking it.
you were a timid baker when you first started baking, maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, but now you are right there in the kitchen.
She's taking after mom.
And she still does this thing that makes me a little twisted. I bet all the people in the audience know that I have cookbooks.
You do?
Yeah. And I actually have a bakery cookbook that has 2 different pumpkin pies in it. Do you think my daughter would not walk around the kitchen with her iPhone in her face, reading somebody else's pumpkin pie recipe to accomplish the feat?
How many times do you think she had yours?
Not
About
very
a
many. I
million.
never make it. Yeah. Anyway, just saying. Doesn't hurt my feelings or anything like that. All right, the aftermath of Thanksgiving. What's the most delish dish that you had on Thanksgiving? And what do you do with the leftovers on Cairo? It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. I have a cold. Somebody's son, who's 20 months old, wiped his snot all over me last Saturday.
It's a gift.
It was a gift.
Yeah. For calling him,
What did you finally took him to the doctor. I thought the kid was going to die, so you finally took him to the doctor.
He was going to die.
And
was
then
just
he
quite
had
sick.
like 18 things wrong with him.
Yeah, he just poor kid had a cold, an ear infection, an eye infection. He was a mess.
Viral pneumonia,
He did not.
AIDS, COVID. Just kidding.
Just a sad little guy.
Yeah.
it's good. You get them all at once.
I'm the last man standing in our family, I think,
Yeah.
from the cold. So
All right. Okay, Chef, are you ready for this?
I am definitely
And
ready.
Are you ready for this, Loretta?
so ready.
All right. Sean, did you have Thanksgiving dinner?
Please write your questions for the chef team on your paper. I'm going to collect them in
You
like
want to come up to the mic and tell
one or
us
two
your
more
favorite dish that
segments.
you had and why? Okay.
What she just said was write your question on that
You
piece
don't
of
have
paper.
to. I mean, we can only
if
answer
you
if
don't
you
have
want.
any
Yeah.
questions, don't write them.
No,
But
if you don't have any,
them-
All right, we're back in the kitchen. It's the Hot Stove Kitchen here at the Hotel Andra. And what is the most delicious dish that you had on Thanksgiving? Any creative leftover ideas and any mistakes? I'm going to start with Loretta. You're always you had one mistake that I saw, which you went back and fixed, which I thought was
At
Good
your
on-
insistence.
good on you. But what happened?
So I tried a new pie crust recipe to me this year, and I was blind baking it. And the whole article that I was reading about how to make this pie crust was don't overbake your blind bake crust. That's
Which
the
I
number.
totally disagree
That's
with.
the
Yeah,
number one
me too.
mistake, yada yada. And so I pulled it out, and it was not super baked. And my lovely father.
So what
forced-
happened?
made
You
me
pulled
put it
the
back
rice
in.
out. You pulled the parchment with the.
Yeah, I pulled the pie weights out, and then my crust slumped because the weight wasn't
Mhm.
holding up the sides anymore, and it wasn't cooked enough. So I followed the instructions from the internet. Maybe I should have been using the Dahlia
A
Bakery
well-tested
cookbook.
Dahlia Bakery.
But yeah, it just didn't hold up as well. So I ended up putting it back in the oven for.
So,
a
but
bit.
you had already pulled the pie weights out, so you just had to put them, the parchment
Back
back
in,
in and
yeah.
put it in, and then I held it while you kind of lifted up the sides because
Yeah.
it was that rare.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
so
I
it-
just kind of lifted up
It
the
just
sides. We
slumped
put
oh
the
wow,
pie
it
weight
was
back
it was
in.
that
Yeah.
rare.
Yeah.
So
See,
Terry, I told her it's like you can't overcook a blind baked crust for a pumpkin pie because when you put the custard in the pumpkin,
it's gonna
custard,
get wet.
yeah. So she didn't believe me, but I think in the future she will cook them a little bit longer than she
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
I will
But
say I
but
did
you do
really
an-
like the crust method outside of under baking it. I'd never done it before where you just pulse together your ingredients and then you dump them all into a tea towel and then you pull up the sides of the tea towel and just twist so that the dough forms a ball and you don't work the dough at all. So the dough doesn't get overworked and
Right.
then you just pop it in the
That's a
fridge for
good
half
way
an
to
hour.
do it. That's
I'd
smart.
never seen it before and it worked really well. So
But yeah, I think under baking is one of the biggest drama of most people in baking. They're always afraid to overbake, and it's
Yeah.
it's really, 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 really hard to burn a pie crust. It's very hard.
Especially one that's going to have a
especially with the
custard in it.
custard.
Yeah, I mean it's almost impossible. So, but it's much easier to underbake.
Okay, Sean, our technical producer, what was your Thanksgiving like, and
Well,
what was your favorite, or what happened?
well, I did a small group, so no full-size turkey this year.
You
was
did it?
just- yeah. Well, I went to a friend's house.
Oh, okay.
There's just two of us, so it was pretty small scale. But I got steak because if nothing else, it's a good old standard. But I think I overcooked it, which
No way.
Unfortunately,
Do you have a meat thermometer?
That's the thing.
Oh,
didn't
my
have a meat thermometer.
goodness. You're going to
So-
get scolded by the
I think
host
we're
here
gonna-
on the
we're
show.
We're gonna plant one in your back.
But it was still delicious. I got a really nice cut of meat. So if you're feeling like you might overcook something, just put a little extra money in the quality of the meat, and
Yes.
that might carry
And a
you
little
through.
thermometer.
So, what was the meat you cooked? What was the type of meat?
Prime rib.
Oh, okay,
And
Yeah,
did you
so-
do a whole roast?
No,
Just a
Uh,
steak.
just
I
a
probably
steak.
should have, and it probably would not have
Okay.
been overdone. But
All right.
yeah.
And your favorite side that you had with it?
Just a side of rice that was kind of nice and
Nice and
Uh,
fluffy?
perfectly cooked, and it just soaked up all the juice from
Uh-huh.
the steak. So
Nice.
yeah,
Delicious.
Rice and steak.
Okay,
Really
Chef,
untraditional, though.
you had the fancy banker-led University Club Thanksgiving dinner,
Yeah,
and you already told us that Stan cooked the perfect turkey.
yeah. and
What was
I-
your
I-
favorite side?
Well, no, I was going to say my favorite part of the meal was the turkey. And the turkey had nothing in it. It was just a 12-pound turkey put in the oven just as is. And it was perfectly baked.
was
I
it
mean,
brined or anything?
No, it was just as is. And Stan did a great job. He put it in the oven and same temperature the whole time. And
Uh-huh.
it came out beautiful, crispy crust, just like you want it. And the meat was really delicious. It was a good turkey. Obviously, it wasn't. Anyway, it was a good turkey and it was moist. The breast of meat was really nice, and I sliced the whole turkey and beautiful.
Lovely.
And I think it's something that often you see that's not the right part of the meal. I mean, I've been to Thanksgiving where I've seen the turkey being quite not so good.
It's a vehicle for the sides, not
Correct.
yeah.
And then for the sides, I think the green beans were fantastic because it was raw, chopped garlic, put into the green beans with a little bit of butter. They cook the garlic into the butter
Uh-huh.
and salt and pepper and put that all over the green beans. Keep it in the foil, and then it will get warmed up in the oven for about 15 minutes at 350, covered, and it was delicious.
Sounds good.
And it's again, those green beans were delicious, which is also another part I have a pet peeve with. That is often the green beans are tree trunks, undercooked, not chewable. These were tender, beautiful, good flavor, and then that garlic on top of it was, of course, delicious. So I think those were the two highlights of everything else was also delicious. There was a cranberry sauce, which was a bit too simple for me. I would have loved to had some vinegar, a little bit more profile to it, but that's all. That's
Well, you'll be happy to know I made a couple of rookie mistakes this Thanksgiving. I've been cooking Thanksgiving as long as you've been alive, for sure, and before that. But I made a couple of rookie mistakes.
Do
One
tell.
is I didn't check to see if my oven temperature was where I had it set. So
Oh.
I haven't checked my oven in a while to see if 325 is actually 325. So I think it's running 25 to 50 degrees slow.
Ooh.
And so when I looked at my turkey after 2 hours, I only had an hour left to finish it. It was like, whoa, I got a problem here. This baby's running red, and I gotta hurry this thing up. So popped it up to 400, and
Which was 350.
well, yeah, but it also I had to cook it all the way till when I served it. So when I did cut it, the juices just came exploding out because I didn't have
Oh,
the
yeah.
proper resting time. So that's a rookie mistake. Always check your oven temp before a big holiday and make sure that it's working at the temperature you think it's working.
Correct.
Another one, I made 2 rookie mistakes on one dish after this.
Did they eat it?
They did.
Okay. Did
It
they
was
like
part
it?
of part of the 5-second rule.
Oh.
I put all my potatoes into the mixer
Right.
to mash them for mashed
Sure.
potatoes. I turned on the mixer and it went on high.
Oh. Did you
Potato explosion.
So the kitchen-
Potato explosion out of the mixture and out of the bowl, which was unnecessary
by the
because I
way-
have that little kind of semi-round lid that
Yeah.
holds everything in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't put that. No.
Oh, I didn't. It's like,
Why would
no,
you put
why-
that?
I thought I was going on low, and the thing just kicked in the high. So, and then
Hot potatoes everywhere.
Yeah, my second mistake. Well, I did have a catcher in the rye who caught it just before it hit the ground and got it right back into the bowl.
Hot potato.
The second rookie mistake I made on that dish was I had warmed up the cream and the butter and stuff to put into my mashed potatoes, and I put it over there by the mixer. Then I turned the mixer on and I got all flustered because my potato just popped out of the mixer. And then I forgot that the handle was over the flame on the cream and the butter. And I reached for the pan and lifted the pan to pour out, the juice into the mixing potatoes. And
So then
You
he
ju-
dropped
you-
that pan, and then
Then I
there
dropped
was
that
a
pan
butter
in the mixer.
explosion.
so, yeah.
Let me guess. The butter and the cream mixed, but not the
Yeah,
pan?
it mixed into my spice rack. It mixed into my toaster. It mixed into a lot of things. Into the blender. Yeah.
So you're repainting the kitchen today?
A nice cream color.
Yeah,
I never
repainted
forget the time I
kitchen
did
and,
that.
Hand in the ice bucket.
I did that boo-boo once with a saffron sauce. I mean, saffron, bright yellow, into the Vitamix blender, turn it on, and same thing. It was on high. I didn't see it. It was on high, so I just turned it on. It just went, and then all the wall became splattered yellow, bright yellow.
And you can't get it out.
Oh man, it's like it stains right away.
Yeah.
No, it's nice. You see your boo-boo for weeks to go.
All right. Mike Salvatore is going to join us. He's the owner of 58 Stars Travel, which is the company that you work with to take these trips.
That's right.
And you're going to Ireland in the spring, right?
Ireland and then Portugal in September.
Right. Let's check in on that when we come back on the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
You didn't even talk about
All
your
right, to
shrimp.
the mic, Mike.
My shrimp weren't really a mistake. It's just that I don't know.
Good morning. To the mic.
I had plenty of mistakes.
How you doing? You back? You back from South Africa?
No, he's still there.
Well, I mean,
Up here.
mentally, I'm not back from Morocco yet. I'm still mentally there.
Salvatore or Salvatore?
Salvador.
Salvador. Yes. Well, we have it spelled wrong on our show sheet.
They have a T.
Jerry, you're gonna run this segment, right?
Sure. Easy. Actually, he's going to run it.
All right, here we are in the Hot Stove Society kitchen on Cairo. I'm Chef Tom Douglas.
And I'm Terry Roturo, the chef in the hat.
Our guest producer today is Loretta Douglas, and
Nice to
Sean, of
see you.
course, as typical, is on technical values of the show, with Sean Dottori doing the editing back in the studio. So, Chef Terry, you are once again going to travel the world, and you
That's right.
go with this company called 58 Stars Travel.
Right.
Is that right?
That's right.
And I think I drove by it up in Bothell or something.
Yes.
I drove-
Fenmore on the way to Bothell.
Yeah, there you go. So, Mike Salvador is here, and he's going to tell us, and you're going to tell us what your plans are.
So our next trip that I have planned, or that we have planned, not I have, we have planned, is Ireland. And we actually have a few seats left. It's booking very quickly, so we only have a couple of seats left. But Mike, do tell us what's going on in Ireland.
Yeah. So this is an exciting trip that we have planned. We were able to, so all of the trips that we create are real custom crafted experiences, food experiences, interesting chef experiences, history sites. In Ireland, we'll see all the sites. We'll see Dublin, we'll see the Cliffs of Moher, we'll go to Killarney. But we're also doing some really interesting experiences along with that. We will go seaweed foraging out near the coast. You'll actually go and forage for the seaweed, and then after that will be created into special dishes.
Yeah,
that
you
will be
actually
had
will
for
have
lunch.
to eat it.
You'll have to eat it. So there'll be a
You
really.
can bungee jump from the Cliffs of Moher down to grab the seaweed and then back.
I like that too. We'll add that in.
You ever seen the Cliffs
Just for
of
you,
Moher?
Tom.
No, but
That's where they
Come
used to
on,
push
let's see
people.
picture.
They used to push people off the edge there years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, we won't go into that.
We won't
Watch
be
your
traveling
back,
with
Terry.
Tom.
I know. Like now I'm going like, okay, maybe I won't go so close to it.
But mushroom foraging, we'll be doing Guinness, a special Guinness tour. There's a lot of Guinness tours out there, but we'll be going behind the scenes with Guinness. We'll be doing some distillery tours. So really beautiful experience. It's the end of April, which is actually a really wonderful time to be in Ireland. It's not too busy, but it's right after St. Patrick's Day. And so it's kind of in that middle season. So it's cool, but it's starting to get warmer, and it's really a wonderful experience.
Yeah,
We have
it's-
4 spots left out of 14. We're looking for 14 people to join us on these trips. We have 10 already in, and so 4 more that we're looking for that.
And then in September, we're going to Portugal.
Yeah,
That's
Portugal.
I'm looking forward to. This is
Uh-huh.
like the new hotspot for most American to travel around the world. Portugal is like super hot. I've been wanting to go to Portugal for 20 years, and finally we put this trip together, and that's also a trip I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, Portugal is one of those places that if you asked about it 8 or 9 years ago, not many people were going there. In the last few years, it really has become one of the hot spots of Europe. It's
Almost too much so, right?
almost too much so to
Yeah.
a point, which is why we built this trip at the end of September. So it's off of the summer season. July and August are tougher times to be in Portugal. The end of September, it's still beautiful weather. But that trip, again, what we try to do with these trips is really create unique experiences that Chef Terry could experience, but everyone can experience with him. And so we'll be doing some wonderful wine experiences in the Douro Valley in Porto. We'll be seeing some incredible sites in Sintra and Cacé and Lisbon, staying at really interesting boutique hotels. So not big hotels. We stay at places that are a little bit more intimate so that people can really get to know each other. Wonderful chef experience, dinner experiences, Michelin star experiences, as well as local experiences. Portugal is one of those places that if it's not on your list, it should be. And if it's on your list, make sure you go at a time where it's not completely over touristed.
Yeah.
And so early, kind of late spring or early fall, mid fall is just such a perfect time to
Uh-huh.
be there.
There's a good show on, I'm not sure on what, but we started watching it the other night and I fell asleep on Porto.
Yeah.
There's an hour documentary
Yeah.
or 2-hour movie or something on Porto,
No, I mean it's a gorgeous
on the Douro
I mean,
Valley there.
gorgeous cities to visit, and it's a beautiful country. And like Mike said, 20 years ago it was like Mexico 100 years ago. You know, it was like it's the only country in Europe probably pretty much left that's like you still can go to a village and feel like, oh, okay, I'm still back 50 years, not
Right.
not up to every European city. So, and Lisbon is a beautiful city, gorgeous city. I mean,
It's funny. You travel the world looking for the best food, and I look for the best golf courses
Yeah,
because I'm going to Ireland in the spring too,
Yeah.
in May. But I'm leaving from a golf club in Scotland by helicopter over the Irish Sea with our golf clubs, dropping into Dublin in Royal County Down, the number
Uh-huh.
1 rated course in the world, playing golf, and then we're helicoptering back to Scotland that same day.
Yeah.
So
Great.
it's a little different experience, right? You can do anything you want to do.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But most importantly, I heard the Irish were the nicest people in the world. So I want to go see that beautiful spirit because
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a little bit Irish on the inside just by spirit.
And the thing about traveling with us and Terry is that these are really fun trips where lots of laughs, lots of time to just sit and chat and have fun together.
And we become friends with the people. I mean, 14 people is such a small group. We become friends, and it's really nice. After 10 days, you're like, okay, cool. When are we doing the next one?
Exactly. And Kathy goes with you. Kathy's in the
Sure.
audience today. Kathy goes with you and
Yeah.
keeps you in line.
That's right. She keeps everything floating.
When I was last in Ireland, I was driving around, and it's just amazing to look up in the hills, Ireland, Scotland, a lot of the UK, where you see all the animals in green grass.
Right.
And, I have a farm over in Prosser, Washington, where the animals are in
Dry grass.
mud pits, and it's just such a difference in feeling like how you care for the creature, and what you're going to get back in cream and butter and stuff like that.
Right.
The difference. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they have factory farms over there too, but I have not seen them.
I mean, Ireland really is the Emerald Island. It is green all the time, and as you said, the animals being able to go out into those green pastures, it's a totally different experience than you experience in a lot of other places. Where, and I think what we try to do is just make sure that it's a all-encompassing trip. So it's not food. It's food and history and culture,
Correct.
and sites and
Which is-
architecture and
Yeah,
really
I think that's
wonderful
what
guys.
makes those trips so valuable and so great. Is it's an experience. It's not just a trip, and you're not just going to a restaurant. No, you're not eating 24/7. We're encompassing everything, and it's really cool to have a very nice in-depth with a guide that's going to give you beautiful in-depth culture and history. And I mean, I think you come up with such a beautiful memory.
For sure.
I think it's good. So
Yeah,
good.
and the guides that we work with are incredibly knowledgeable. They work with us over and over again, so we've gotten to know them over the years. We know what to do to bring people into the experience, make them feel more at home with the experience, and it's just a lot of fun. So yes, Ireland at the end of April, Portugal at the end of September. And actually, our Portugal trip will actually go on sale next week.
Mhm.
And that really excited for that because we think that one will go pretty fast.
Now, if you can't make this trip, but you're going to tell somebody, you've been there many times, I'm assuming. I've been to Dublin a few times, and there's a lot to miss in Dublin. I mean, things that you don't want to do, because to me, it's a little bit like the French Quarter in New Orleans.
Mhm.
It's just a big frat scene on parts of Dublin. So how do you tell people, or what do you tell people to do to kind of avoid that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things to do on that. First of all, you really want to, a lot of people will go online and they'll see something that's really interesting, and then they'll just say, I want to go there. Well, the
Right.
problem is millions of people are doing the same thing.
Right.
And so if you work with an agency, and some people have never worked with a travel agency, and some people think, oh, they're of the past. Well, it's the thing that's interesting about working with a travel agency is that we know where to send you, and we know how to keep you away from those
And
tourists,
when.
and when to send you,
Yeah.
and keep you away from those touristy
That's the
spots.
thing that I'm
and-
talking about, is stay away from some of these. They're overwhelmed with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed with kids and overwhelmed with people
Uh-huh.
in many cases, especially Dublin. Dublin is one of those cities where it can get completely overrun,
Yeah.
and you just feel out of sorts.
And your
So,
one can't miss thing. For me, it was the Trinity Library. I just thought that was an amazing.
Trinity
thing.
Library is amazing. I'm a big fan of nature. So the Cliffs of Moher is just one of those things that, or the Ring of Kerry.
Uh-huh.
I think they're beautiful. Really beautiful
And
places.
by the way, Ireland is known not necessarily for their food, but it's changing drastically over the last 10, 15 years. A lot of the new generation of chefs are bringing out all the new Irish food and, really promoting their culture and their food.
And they're celebrating what's local.
Exactly.
That's what took
Yeah.
over all the food around the world. Is people
Right.
recognize what they had in their backyard.
Right.
Yeah.
And going back to that. And so
And
I'm
if
looking forward
you're
to that.
if you're interested, you can send us an email at thechefandthehat@58starstravel.com, or you can reach out to Terry on his website. And either way, we'll give you more information about the trips.
Perfect. Our chefy recommendation, if you want to give this trip to Ireland as a Christmas present, you are more than welcome to.
Yeah.
If not, we have some recommendations for holiday gifts when we come back on Cairo. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
Great job. You.
About that one. I want to go to. I may go to Portugal.
Oh yeah, it's a good trip.
Yeah, my
Looking
husband
really good.
wanted to go back for so long.
I want to find a house there.
Oh yeah. Moved there.
Are they happy?
The one lives in Lisbon, loves it. The others kind of moved a little bit more to the coast, and they're getting used to it.
Because the social part changes drastically if you move in the countryside and you have no friends, and what do? You know, and that's one thing. She's more afraid than me of that. See, I've been social all my life, so I don't care. I can make friends with a gardener, but she's more like, well, you know, our friends, and I'm like, yeah, that's a consideration. But if you move in a city like Lisbon, but Lisbon is catching up. The prices are once, but that was like 45 years ago when I was a little kid. My parents went there many times because one of my cousins married a Portuguese man. So we went to their village. That was like third country kind of thing. Like dirt floor, no running water, you gotta go to the well, and I mean really poor. It's so beautiful, it's beautiful people and beautiful countryside, but that's all I
Okay,
remember.
awesome.
so-
Thank you.
And it's changed so much.
Yeah.
And it's again one of those things that it's become so overwhelming with people that you got to be really careful when you go to Portugal now.
Yeah, I'm not disappointed on the. I get this picture in my head of like I said, Mexico 100 years ago. You know, it's like really, really picturesque and
End of September,
nice. So May and September are two of the best months to travel for.
which is why we really should not.
I don't. Plus, if you stay here, it's beautiful. Unless it's smoky and then you gotta move somewhere else. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling, you know, having needing of oxygen. You know, in Morocco, I had my machine the whole time.
Different climate too.
Well, it's a different. But I was moving around, and you know, it's like my oxygen is, I need it. So I was carrying that around. But other than that, it was the only thing I didn't do is go on a camel in the morning because I didn't want to. There was a sand blowing and everything. I was like, I don't want to ruin my machine, and I got afraid of that. And also, you had to climb some dune. I was like, I'm not doing any climbing. I can't. I'll be out of breath halfway through, and
That's why, especially Portugal and South Africa, there's not going to be a lot of.
right.
We're kind of
No, I know Ireland's going to be some walking and everything. I'll bring my machine and it's all good.
Tom's going to push you up.
Yeah, exactly. That will solve everything. I'm trying to send a new newsletter sometime next week for Portugal. Yeah. So did you send? Did you send? Oh, I have 10,000 people. I need to give it to you.
You want us to send it at the same time as the newsletter? Or?
No, because it's the same people. Oh, it's the same people, right? I can't. Well, the mailing list that I have for the newsletter is everyone. And the one you have is part of it. And it will give you the part of it. That's why I want to send you a reminder because I don't want to hold it through. I want to keep it.
Okay, guys, look up front here. We're just finishing the gravy in the back, but I just want to show you that a proper gravy is not this big floury bomb. It's got a nice, it's like creme anglaise, right? It coats the spoon without it being big and mushy. And okay, just saying.
It looks beautiful. Just saying.
Just saying.
I couldn't taste it, so I have no idea what it is.
It's good. It needs salt. Delicious. Maybe a little pepper too. Not too much, just a little bit.
Eat a bit. depends on salt for flavor in his life. Me, I'm all organic and natural.
Mr. Yes.
High and mighty over here.
I know. Mr.
And we're back in the kitchen on the Hot Stove Society Radio Show channel. You know, you can podcast us too. I don't know if you realize that, Chef, but we're on a podcast.
Oh, yes, we are. We
Yeah.
are live on YouTube.
Right now, we're live on YouTube.
Yeah.
On Thursday mornings when we tape from 9 to 11 normally.
Correct.
Today's a little bit different after Thanksgiving. You
Go
know
to-
what?
Go to tomdouglas.com. You forget to say that.
If people don't give your trip to Ireland or to Portugal for a Christmas present, there's some things that maybe they could do. Now you laugh, but I bought at an auction a trip to Tuscany for two to stay for a week in somebody's private condo, and I just gave it away as a Christmas present.
You are the kindest man ever.
Not really.
I would
just-
never
could-
give a
not
trip
really, I-
anywhere to anybody. I would take it myself. Even with no legs, I would still go there.
Gave it away sounds a little laissez-faire.
I
You
would
gave
give-
it to your very lovely sister.
I did.
so-
Who was the executive director of the Emergency Food Network in Tacoma?
Okay, fine.
And
fine,
she-
you win.
She's
Oh,
a saint in wolf's clothing.
Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle.
Yeah.
Ma Michelle.
Hi, Michel.
Yeah.
Michel Yabel.
You know, it turns out she's my goddaughter. My mom died in August, and I just got a package with all the old photos. My sister kind of put them aside for each of the sibs, and so mine came. And in the package, there's a picture of me and my youngest sister Michelle saying, like, "Happy Godfather" at her christening. I was like,
with you as her godfather.
I never knew
You
I was her
were?
godfather. Yeah,
You didn't know.
I didn't know. So I had to make up for all these years of being lax. So,
Wow.
there you go.
That's cool.
All right, some Christmassy cookware or things for the kitchen. I'm going to start off. Is it okay?
Go ahead.
You know, we have a wonderful sponsor here at the Hot Stove, the KitchenAid company. They do our pans, our ovens, our fridges, you name it. We use a lot of KitchenAid product. And I just bought on Amazon a KitchenAid immersion blender, like I just used for
I
the
was
gravy
just going to
here
say, we
today.
need one to show them.
No, I have a million of them over there. But the one I bought on Amazon is the first one that I've seen that is wireless. So you saw me having to move around
Yeah,
to
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
accommodate the length of the cord.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that anymore. It's wireless and you can take it anywhere in the kitchen and it's awesome. So I'm going to give that this year to everyone but my daughter because she's sitting here and I don't want her to know what I got her.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I'm going to give that
You're
present
getting
to
sea snails.
Thank you.
sea snails. Great. No, but a wireless immersion blender or hand blender.
Wow. That's
Isn't that a
great
good
gift.
idea? But it reminds me of
So let's talk about what to use it for in most common usage because, you know, tools like this, many people look at them in the store and they go, well, that's great, but what am I going to use that for?
right.
So, I mean, the hand blender, the thing about the hand blender that's so cool, first of all, it's handy. It's a hand blender. It's very easy to use. You just need a deep pot and you can puree and blend anything you want. When you're making soups, anything that has liquid and
Vinaigrettes.
solids, you just blend the heck out of it.
Yeah.
And you get this beautiful silky soup ready for you and pumpkin or whatever you're making this time of year. And it's a very useful tool that way. And it
I totally
definitely
agree.
beats if you don't have that machine, the next step is so much more work and so cumbersome.
Yeah, you got to use a Vitamix or something, a food processor.
Correct.
Here's the thing I don't get though. It struck me when I was using this new KitchenAid wireless immersion blender. Like I'm a Milwaukee guy. Like I have a shop because of the farm, because of my
sure.
house. I like to build things. If Milwaukee makes it, M18 battery size tool, I buy it. So why hasn't somebody come up with all of our kitchen? They got wires everywhere. The toaster,
Sure.
all you need is a rechargeable battery for all
Coffee
that.
maker.
Coffee maker. Put it anywhere.
$1 million idea right there. Let's
Put it
do
anywhere.
I could
Yeah,
bring
why
a
not?
coffee maker into the bedroom easily.
Sure. And it's just saying, there's an opportunity there.
No, there is.
All right, what about you? A foodie thing?
I'm going to go back to my, once again, Sean showed us a meat thermometer. It's a simple tool
$15.
at most, and then just buy it and use it. Don't guess what temperature your meat is at, your steak, your pork chop, your chicken, your roast. Don't guess. And by the way, your finger, that's not
Yeah,
a
these
gauge.
knuckleheads that open their hand and press on, oh, by the thumb is medium well, by the little finger is well done. You know, it's nonsense.
It's a nice picture and makes for great TV show, but it sucks as real life.
Yeah.
Because it's not real. I mean, you can't tell me that you're going to be able to judge. You push here and then you push on your steak. Oh yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
Good job.
So it's not just any meat thermometer, right? You want a big face so that you can tell temperature quickly. A
Correct.
digital,
Correct.
but with a big face for somebody like me who needs glasses.
Correct.
So you don't leave your oven door open for a half hour.
Right? Where's that big red one that we were using last week?
Yeah. So you want something like that. And then I like when you pull the poker out
Yeah.
and it turns it on.
Correct.
You don't have to do two things trying to turn it on, turn it off. You just pull a little poker stick out and the thing
At
is ready
home,
to
I
go.
have a small round one with a screen that lights up and it's easy to read. You press the button, it comes on. You poke, you watch. In less than 3 seconds, you get the temperature.
Yeah.
You pull out and you know where you're at. And it's very useful for things like chicken, pork roast, things that will dry out if you overcook it. You know, most of the regulation tells you chicken 165. Well, I pull mine at 160 or just slightly below that, and then I let it rest. And it reached 165, no problem.
The health department just had a heart attack, chef.
You know what? We're gonna have to survive.
Collective heart
We're
attack.
gonna have to survive that heart attack. We'll give them CPR.
All right, my next one is a book that's been out for a little bit, but not all that long. It's called Wok, W-O-K,
The Wok.
The Wok, by Kenji Lopez Alt.
Definitely.
It's just a study of the tool and how to use it. And I think that a wok is sometimes intimidating to people because the metal is so thin that you don't thick bottom pan but there's reasons for all of that.
Mhm.
And so he just does a little history of it and then great recipes on how to be successful with that tool.
Right.
And so what's it, a $30 or $40 book is my guess. And I just think it's a really fun exploration in the kitchen.
I mean, I have it, and I think it's a great book. So, yes, you get my vote on that.
All right, your next one.
I'm going to do the 12-inch saute pan, and a saute pan that is stainless steel bottom. The whole pan is stainless steel, easy to wash. You can bring it to heat just like a cast iron, super, super hot, and you can sear really, really well in those pans. But most importantly, that pan will follow you to death, meaning that the pan will still outlive you.
Yeah.
Because there is no way to destroy those pans. You cannot destroy them. I mean, I guess you could work at it, but I think you will figure it out. You need a steel pad, and you need those pans when they're done and they look like they're totally burned. You put them in the sink. You put cold water on it. You just use your steel pad. It's clean in an instant. To me, that's one of the best pans, and we use them in the restaurant business. Everybody uses them in the restaurant. For that reason, is it's easy to clean. It keeps the heat, which is very important. You know, many homes still go to have those flimsy saute pan where
Terrible.
you put them on the fire. So first of all, you can never get them hot enough because they would melt in front of you if you did. And they also lose the heat right away. So when you're trying to do like something as simple as sauteed mushroom, don't overcrowd your pan. Just put your sliced mushroom in your pan. And then you need a pan that's really hot, because if it's not, all that water is going to come out and look like a mushroom soup in your pan. So a good, heavy stainless
12 inch,
steel
because
pan.
everyone's got a 10 inch, but a lot of people don't have the big pan.
Get the 12-inch, because you can always cook on one side of the pan, but you can't make the pan bigger.
My last one is a fad that we started years ago on this radio show. We were the authors of this fad, which is a crispy chili crisp.
Oh,
And so my suggestion is you go to the grocery store. They've got one for $5 called Logan Ma
mm-hmm.
chili crisp, spicy
Yep.
chili crisp, and it's called Old Godmother is basically. And then you got the kari kari, which is a locally made chili crisp.
Right.
And you just give them both, right? And let people decide
I
for
would-
themselves.
I'd
The kari
throw
kari is
in
$15.
The Momofuku one, I just
You like the
bought
Momofuku one?
Is delicious. It's spicier than either of the other two. So I feel like if
So
you
maybe a
want a
little
trio,
3-pack, a little 3-pack of chili crisp, make somebody's year.
Yeah.
No,
And
that's
delicious stuff.
you can be right on trend.
Add it on anything and you'll still be happy.
All right. When we come back, Kelty Mahoney is going to be with us and talk about his food and world culture books on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society show. Stay with us. 1 hour?
What?
1 hour down.
1 hour down.
And look, we're 7 minutes early.
I wanted to give you my Christmas list.
Well, you can do that.
You wanted to do what?
You need help back there, team plating help?
I had a few
No.
cooking items on my Christmas list. I was hoping to sneak in there. I'd really like a mandolin.
Write it down, give it to him.
Which kind?
Pocket.
Fancy kind or like what we have? The little green one. Get one with a safety.
You get me one with a safety.
Do I sound like I have a cold?
Not too bad.
I'm trying. I'm getting more NPR voice as we go. Looks like your lunch is just about ready. I think we'll wait for a minute while these get passed out. Guys, get ready for someone to.
Should we serve them all?
2 Thanksgiving meals in a row. How many people had this very same meal last night? Lots of you, huh?
Hey, Tom, there's a mic here for you.
Sean, there's
Sorry.
extra back there if you want.
I wanted you to just say about the gravy on the mic so everybody can hear it. It's a good gravy.
I'm sage, garlic, butter, turkey. Then I roast my turkey, and the onions almost turn black, typically. Today, they didn't turn black, so I had to put them in a pan and take them down to a super dark, right in the roasting pan. So then I pull it out, pull my turkey aside to rest, because it takes about 30, 40 minutes to make gravy. Let my turkey's resting, tented over here, and it's also dripping a lot of juice, so that's going to go and end up into my stock. And then I take my whisk and I put the burner on underneath my big, thick bottom roasting pan, and I kind of dehydrate all the moisture out of there until the fat that's left is snappy.
Thank you.
You can hear it popping a little bit. When something is boiling, it doesn't snap, right? It just boils and you can hear the bubbles. But with fat, it turns to a snap. And then you just take your onions as dark as you like them. I like the color of a really dark onion. And then I add my flour and make my roux. If you don't have enough fat, just add butter. I did butter and duck fat in this gravy, along with the turkey roasting fat. And then add your roux. Then start with your turkey stock, 1 cup at a time until you've got it pasty. Then you can add as much at a time as you like, but it has to be hot. You add cold stock to a roux, it breaks the roux and it separates. Okay, so then you just got to get it up and then cook it long enough to get rid of any of the flouriness. You saw that how I like it a little bit thinner than a lot of gravies are. You should be able to see through it.
We call this nappe.
Nappy?
Nappe. As in it nappe is when it coats.
Coats, yeah. And you should, like I said, you should be able to see through it. And then if it gets too thick, just add more stock.
And
I
then
like to add white wine, and then I finish with a little bit of my mushroom rub because it's got a lot of porcini powder in it and some mild chilies. So it's just as a nice gravy helper.
but you didn't the secret. You use the hand blender. This is where you use your hand.
I don't strain it. I just do a blend on it. Jerry's fished out my bay leaves for me.
I did.
I don't know. I just got one in my teeth. So
I guess I didn't fish all of them out. All right, they're awfully quiet now.
Okay, Kelty, I think it's all you now.
Yeah, you're gonna put them to sleep. They're gonna go for a nap on the couch.
I know this is your.
Is this my mic here?
Yep, you can. Yep. I like it better if you sit because then the people behind you can see you or can see us.
All right. How's that sound?
Doesn't sound good.
Did I come through?
Listen to
You
me.
need to get really close.
Listen to me and listen to me. You hear the difference?
Yep. How we
There
doing
you
here?
go.
There it
Now
is.
we're talking.
There we go.
Great. This is an incredible book.
Oh, thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
books, I
I'm very
should
proud
say.
of it. Yeah. Thank you very
Wow.
much. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of
Quite the
work.
project. Yeah. Yeah. It was fun, especially once all the libraries closed down 2 years ago. That definitely made it a lot extra fun.
That's a lot of hours on the computer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I hope you were hungry. That is a much bigger lunch than I was expecting them to serve. Holy smokers.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at this.
Hit spot. How's what's your favorite parts? Gravy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it?
You know why? Because nobody makes gravy that good. And I saw Tom put when he says his mushroom, what do you call it, mushroom rub?
Yeah.
Is it called mushroom rub, right? Yeah, mushroom
Exotic
rub.
mushroom rub.
Yeah, that stuff is really good. But he didn't just do a little bit. He put like a third of that tub there
For this many
because
people, I put about 4
he was making a lot
tablespoons.
of sauce.
Yeah.
A lot of gravy, and that's what it takes. But that's what also makes that beautiful.
The biggest
flavor.
thing when people are cooking in a crowd is that they underseason because they are always so used to seasoning for themselves rather than if you're making a salad for 12 people, think about your pepper for 12 people, not just how many grinds you like for yourself. And people forget that sometimes. At the end, because my mushroom rub and mushrooms themselves are very floral. And my rub has a little herb de Provence base, dried herbs in it. And you don't want to cook that floral out. So 5 minutes before the end at the max. And because you asked such a good question, you get the partially open jar. Very astute. Mhm.
That turkey is cooked perfectly.
That's Kelty and Chef
And Eamon.
Eamon. There you go.
Wow,
Team sport.
This is Eamon's second day.
it's very, very nicely cooked. Perfect.
Oh, good, good.
I don't expect anything else,
Nice.
but delish. I'm
You
not
guys
kid-
ready for hour number 2?
I'm not kidding to say once they're done with this lunch, they're gonna need a couch.
They're gonna need a nap. Benjamin, how's your turkey? Looks pretty gone. Oh, really?
wow, rude.
You got sold out.
Thanks, babe.
This is my son-in-law, Benjamin, and I was telling my mother about him, and finally she kind of pulled me over and whispered in my ear and wanted to know, what ethnicity is Jammin?
His name is Benjamin.
Oh, I see. She thought it was Benjamin.
I told her he was Jamaican. I thought it was funny.
That's hilarious. Benjamin.
What's hilarious is that she just kind of pulled me over and whispered. She didn't want to embarrass anybody.
All right.
Chef, did I tell you that I inherited my mother's stove her 6-burner, 2-oven, 2-broiler, porcelain and chrome Wedgwood stove from 1955,
Ooh.
which she and my dad bought when they had no reason and no right to be buying something like that, and had it on a 10-year payment. It was $200, and they had a 10-year payment plan on it back in 1955.
That's very small payment, but I guess that's a lot of payment back then.
Yeah, when you have, well, at that time they had 4 kids, and now they ended up with 8. So anyway, I had it shipped from Delaware to here. It just came. It's out
Is
of
it
my
here?
warehouse. No, but it's going to go in that little corner over there.
Very
So,
nice.
yeah, it's going to be.
Maybe I should give you my stove. I have a 52
I don't
roper.
want your stove.
A 52 roper.
I
would
know
go
it's
right next to
lovely.
it.
I've seen it, but I want you to get a new stove though.
I love my stove. It's hard. It's very funny
It's
how.
hard to get rid of them when you have so many miles on them, isn't it?
Well, plus you get so accustomed to the tweakiness of
Yeah.
your stove.
Uh-huh.
Then you're like, no, it's fine. You know, my wife says, oh, it smells like gas. I'm like, it's just a minute. One day you're gonna find us both dead in the house because we turned on the oven. But I like it. It's a very cool. I just like the fact that it's so ancient. So many meals and dinners have been cooked out of that stove.
Did you say the word ancient?
Yes. The stove is ancient. It's 1952. I mean, think about that.
That's 70 years old. Ancient. Careful
Okay.
what you say.
Okay,
well,
maybe
no,
not
there's
the
so many-
pyramids.
Yeah. Yeah. What's that make the pyramids if that stove is ancient? Okay, here we go. We're back in the Hot Stove Society kitchens, downtown Seattle. Our audience is chowing down on green beans and cranberry sauce, roasted turkey with sweet onion gravy, Yukon Gold mashed potatoes, and
That cranberry sauce is delicious.
you like the cranberry sauce?
Oh,
Good.
very good.
I think that's it. Why don't you guys have wine?
I know. A
How
little
can you
glass,
eat turkey dinner without a
a
glass,
little
of,
glass
wine?
of Beaujolais would be
What kind of cheap,
delicious.
what kind of cheap place is this?
Maybe we should pass the wine list.
Okay, Kelty,
Yes, chef.
Clark Mahoney is at the mic. He's at the guest mic here. Kelty
Yes,
is one of the chefs here in the Hot Stove Society kitchens. We're thankful to have him. He brings a world-renowned, probably renowned is the wrong word, but a world view of food, and so much so that you've actually co-written a book with Linda S. Watts and
Yes.
Kelty Clark Mahoney. The book is called Food and World Culture: Issues, Impacts, and Ingredients. And it's 2 volumes. It's a tome. It's huge.
Yeah. It
And
is
so-
two Moby Dicks long. Or
Is
I'm
it
calling
really?
it Moby Dice. That's how I'm pluralizing.
Is Ahab in here? Is Captain Ahab?
Yeah, no, but there is a chapter on whale.
Okay, good.
I did
All right.
not plagiarize it from Melville though. They
All
did.
right. Tell us about you, how you got into this business, and your fascination with it, because you've been all over the place.
Yeah, I just kind of lucked into it. Grew up here, Seattle, Washington, born and raised up there in the Wedgwood neighborhood, where I'm assuming your stove comes from. And
Exactly. No, the only thing that comes from that neighborhood is a Wedgwood broiler.
yes, which that is, did it the old-fashioned way. I started washing dishes there in high school.
Oh, did you?
Yep, good
Oh.
friend of mine, Matt Hawes. His mother Susan was working the front up there and said they needed help in the kitchen, and so I went on in there and started my journey into restaurants. That'd be about 2002 ish, and then so when you were very well established at that point. I was dipping my
Thank you
fingers.
for that, Kelty.
The,
That's
um,
awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
everybody's asking why he's not retired already.
Yeah.
Well, it is fun though. So yeah, so I worked there, worked my way up to being a line cook up there and doing all that. At a certain point went off and did some corporate food services at some schools. And around then the
At
company
schools, like a public school system?
no, like at colleges. I was working for
Oh,
a Bon Appetit management company.
Oh, sure,
and
yeah.
do food services.
So
Seattle
not in a
University,
frat
Greenwich
house or something.
College.
Because a lot of those
No,
frat
no,
houses,
thankfully.
they have their own chefs.
They do.
Yeah.
I almost got one of those jobs once. That would have
Yeah.
been pretty fun. But my girlfriend at the time was not excited to have me working at a sorority house for 8 hours a day. That's-
She's a very smart
There was
girlfriend.
some resistance there. Yeah.
Okay.
I ended up making smarter life choices.
All right.
Yeah.
So now
yeah.
you've got through this Bon Appetit program, which is a catering division of
Yeah.
Compass.
And then I was very lucky. They sent me to school. They helped pay for a bunch of my culinary schooling just up here at the Seattle Culinary Academy, which is a tremendous organization, has been for a long time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Really hoping they get to keep continuing. I know there was that bit of a scare that they might not be staying open a while ago, but luckily, it looks like they're holding in, and it was a great opportunity there. And yeah, I kind of always was a bit of a history nerd growing up. You know, it kind of runs in my family. And then one of the chefs there, Greg Atkinson, who was teaching there at the time, he's a big history nerd too.
Of course.
Loves his food history so much.
Was chef at Canlis for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And
Contributor to the Seattle Time.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
Good
so,
writer.
yeah, he became a bit of a mentor for me there, and we kind of became friends. And so he really helped kind of light the fire of getting me really interested to relating with food through history. Just became a really helpful sort of tool for using to relate to food for me after that. And then from there, you know, traveled around, went and studied in Spain a little bit, did a little bit of Costa Rica and Nicaragua to warm up for a little bit before I came on home. And yeah, I taught at Fair Start for about 4 years, which is actually where this book started. Linda Watts there, my co-author, who is a professor up at the University of Washington in their North Campus. She was just a regular volunteer there every weekend and also big into history. And so we would just hang out and talk, and I sort of shifted positions in the organization, so I wasn't in that kitchen anymore. And so we kind of started writing this book to have an excuse to hang out on the weekends and keep drinking coffee together and talking about history. And so yeah, it was great. I was really lucky to have her guidance on this, being a professor. She has lots of experience. She actually a tremendous career. As we were starting this, she said, "I'm glad to have you helping me on this. I've only written one encyclopedia before myself." And I was like, "Oh, good. I'm glad I'm maybe going to help." So yeah, it was been a tremendous experience. Yeah, started working about the first year we were working on it. A lot of great cooperation from all these other colleges and everything. I was getting to handle all of these amazing first materials and you know, original sources. And then the lockdowns came, and we had to start figuring out how to do research without access to libraries.
So, a quick question: what were you trying to accomplish at the beginning?
Oh, our goal, really demystifying a lot of food. It's one of the things I'm sure you all experience this,
Sure.
being people who are professionals. Since it's your profession and your craft, I'm very familiar with it. People haven't put in that time and really delved and let it take over as much of their life. A lot of it stays magic, and a lot of it stays really mysterious. And I kind of like helping to illuminate that. It's actually one of the things I like about working here, is getting to, a lot of people come into our dumpling class and they're so intimidated by the concept of dumplings. They just get walked through it a couple times and they're just having a great time with it. And it's really great to sort of take the mystery out of that.
Right.
And to sort of take regional focus. You'll notice the structure of the book is very ingredient based. Apples are their own entry, and then it's the whole history of human interaction with apples. We start from where it lives in the natural world to its domestication, and then its history politically, economically, culturally since then. And so it's kind of why we took this less regional sort of focus on it, was to really let the history of each ingredient sort of speak for itself and symbolize itself, to sort of also give people an opportunity to interact with that. You know, if you really like apples, jump right in. It's a great place to just find a lot of information that's going to be interesting to you already.
Well, let's jump into that when we come back, because I would imagine Linda Watts was happy to have somebody who was familiar with the kitchen. She being a professor, would do one side of that book, and that you were able to help her through all the structural things when it comes to cooking and how we use ingredients and certainly how it affects. It is interesting how many people come into the classes here and just, you never know what's freaking somebody out.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's making pie dough.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, just things that we just take for
Yeah,
granted.
we take
right?
for granted, yeah.
So, all right, when we come back, a little bit more about what's inside the books on food and world culture by Linda S. Watts and Kelty Clark-Mahoney.
Job, man. I think it's very cool.
This is crazy, Kelty. I didn't know you'd been working on this.
Oh yeah, it just got released on the 28th of October.
Amazing.
So it's,
Congratulations.
we have yet to find out. Luckily, we have. It's because its main target is institutions, so libraries, schools, and things of that nature, as it's mostly a reference book, and so they aren't doing their orders just yet for the upcoming year. I am going to be doing a little bit of promotional stuff through the publisher as well going forward. I know our wonderful front of the house master, Julie Ross here, has actually sold 2 copies to people at classes because Julie Ross is the slickest and the coolest. and also offers really cool cocktail classes here. Keep your eyes out for those.
I'm assuming that there's nothing in these books that is going to get you banned in Texas or Kansas.
No. The surprisingly, the publisher was really cool. Because we did lean into the social effects of a lot of things, and frankly, interaction with food is one of the places where cultural bias and discrimination really like to rear their head and come out. A lot of that did go into the book, and they just really let us put it in there. They did not shy away from anything. They did make me rein in a little bit of my anti-monarchist views in the venison chapter, but that might have just been because it didn't apply to the subject.
Might have been.
Anti-monarchist.
He hates the queen.
Well, I don't like the idea of the rich people being the only people who can hunt.
Off with the queen.
Yeah. But it was also one of the interesting things in researching the venison chapter is really how just universal sort of the people in charge claiming dominion over the right to hunt is. And it was kind of interesting, obviously my cultural background, I'm very familiar with all of that and, England and all that, particularly in the Robin Hood stories where I learned most of my medieval history. But but really finding just how universal that is at the moment some people come in charge, they really assert their dominance over the ability to hunt and
Property
harvest food.
lines. Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I was always amazed when I read the journey of Lewis and Clark.
Yeah.
How much meat they said in the book. I don't know if they know for sure, but 9 pounds a day per man
Yeah.
of meat.
Yeah.
Which seems
They were
underrated.
working hard on that. I mean, they were carrying canoes up, rocky river beds.
Well, and it's oxen. It's such lean meat. You got to think about how much fat they need to be sustaining themselves
Right.
through such hard work. They're really just getting pure protein from that oxen, and you burn through that so quick.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Ready? We're back in the hot stove kitchen. Tom Douglas,
Terry Roger, the chef in the hat.
chef in the hat, and Kelty Clark-Mahoney is here, one of the chefs here at the hot stove, but is also co-author of a new book called Food and World Culture: The Issues, Impacts, and Ingredients that we find around the world and how they affect everything that we do. So, what are we going to? Why would someone buy this?
The main thing is what I really see as sort of the draw for it is, and it is sort of aimed towards a younger audience. Our ideal market is in sort of the middle to early college range. And what I really see as valuable in it is one of the hardest things in education is really making things feel applicable to people's own experience. I can tell people about the effect of Alexander the Great on spreading Hellenism anywhere. That's going to be really meaningless to a lot of people.
Yeah.
If people really enjoy the aroma of saffron and you can explain to them how much of that cultural relationship is built on these sort of cultural underpinnings and those themes, I really feel that helps bring it into a visceral relationship with the person who's absorbing it.
Right.
You can even see, in the national holiday we celebrated yesterday. Well, the actual history may be different from our national legend about it.
Right.
We get together, and the idea is you're eating these similar foods that give you this connection in a visceral way to the past. And so that was kind of the goal of this book. That's why we included recipes with all of the entries. Some of those recipes are a little obscure. We do have one in there for how to cook a peacock. I don't know how many people are going to go get a peacock and really roast it up with all
First
those.
of all, you'd have to find the peacock.
Well, they don't hide so well. So that's like
Saint Michel. Go over to Saint
Sure.
Michel.
That's the first, it's funny. That's the place I was going to say. Chateau Saint Michel have some.
Yep. They wander around out in Winthrop in the Methow Valley too. So if you're lucky, you can find one.
Here's what I love about your book is that it's laid out in a way that is so easy to get.
Oh, good.
And I think interesting. So, for example, saffron, you mentioned saffron. You have a whole did you know? So that kind of covers all the things that saffron was used for over the ages and how it morphed into an ingredient that now is often the most expensive spice in our kitchens, right? So that's super interesting. Then you go into the production and consumption, the cultural diffusion, like all the different areas where saffron became important, trade and economic factors, societal issues. Now that I had asked you jokingly earlier, what's in this book is going to get you banned in Texas and Kansas, but
yeah,
something like that. People don't want to be told sometimes that there's a cultural issue with saffron, or like you had mentioned. Tell us the story about hunting.
Oh well, yeah, it's just in doing the research for this, we have a chapter on venison, which sort of is a catch-all term for all the wild meats. The recipes do focus on elk and deer because that's sort of what people are usually interacting with. But it was interesting in trying to take that out of sort of, a lot of our history books have a very Eurocentric sort of view. So in intentionally looking beyond that to the rest of the history around venison and its cultivation and its place in food systems is really how universal it sort of is whenever a group of people come in charge of an area that they really
the power essentially. Yeah.
that they just assert the legal control over all of the hunting there and frequently all of the foraging as well. And that it's one of the first steps people do in consolidating a
And so
political
that
power.
essentially cuts out the person who used to try to roam through
Right.
the land
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
take an elk or take a deer for their own consumption.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
really does solidify this dependence on the power structure as
Right.
it coalesces.
That's super interesting. Then you go into the culinary uses, the industrial uses, the medicinal uses, the beverage uses, the impact, and then a couple of recipes. And I think it's just so beautifully laid out in that
good.
I would know now more about saffron than I ever knew I needed to know.
Yeah.
It is a common thing with saffron to go to India or to Morocco. When I was in Morocco, two pieces of saffron into your hot water
Uh-huh.
and to make that into a drink,
Oh,
like an
yeah?
infusion. And it's a very common thing to do in India. I saw it in India and I saw it in Morocco.
Mm-hmm. And that also actually does go back to Alexander the Great, which is one of the fun things in reading about this is how much he really was a marketing force for saffron, amongst other things. It was so sought after by he and his leaders, and they also it was widely believed that bathing in saffron or drinking saffron tea would heal battle wounds.
Huh.
And so that was also widely believed to be one of the reasons why his army was so successful. And it also helped lead a lot of the early interest in saffron and saffron farming because people were farming it thinking it was some sort of a defense mechanism
Uh-huh.
as much as a food. And so that's why it was actually kind of when I was starting to research that chapter that I was just looking at starting, first information, looking at everywhere where saffron is cultivated and where it's culturally significant. And it is exactly the map of the empire of Alexander the Great. And it is just the lasting legacy of that expansion and cultural exchange.
What ingredient did you come across that caused the most trouble?
Oh,
there's
breadfruit.
things like breadfruit.
Oh yeah, man.
I was thinking in my mind, I was thinking black pepper or coffee or salt
see, so those
or
are
sugar.
Those are great. There's a million things to say about them. They're fascinating. Let me tell you, there's nothing more boring than breadfruit in this whole world. The we had to cover it we chose to cover it because its exchange and cultural diffusion is really tied to the expansion of colonialism and the triangle slave trade, particularly in the Caribbean. I'm personally very fascinated, and I love the food of the Caribbean and the cultural history there. So something I wanted to bring into this book because it so frequently falls by the wayside. And
So breadfruit more say than sugarcane.
Oh yeah, because it's so boring. And then the hardest thing is when you get into a bunch of the early descriptions of breadfruit, it's all English sailors trying to describe breadfruit because also, unfortunately, I only speak English, so that's the language all of my research took place in. But if you ever wanted to have an unreliable source for how something tastes, ask a bunch of English sailors in the 1500s. There is you will see
They're known
accounts-
for their dégustation.
Oh yeah, and you'll have two sailors on the same ship in their diaries eating breadfruit together, describing it entirely separately as an item. And there was so much of this that we had to look into. Was there some other fruit that was called breadfruit for a long time? And there was not. There's just a lot of differing experience in how people interact with food.
Huh.
So what ingredient caused the most death?
Oh.
Not necessarily. You know what I
Mushroom.
mean? Just like
Mushroom.
Oh, so that's most likely going to be sugar. Sugar is
Sugar.
definitely really terrifying. It was
just fights. It caused fights.
yeah. Well,
Wars?
the wars over it, as well as its place in our diet and the destruction it does on the human body and how heavily consumed it is, as well as just its cultivation has driven so much conflict and that. Yeah. So that was a shocking one. I would also the the banana, the banana chapter, sadly, just due to the role of, United Fruit in the mid 20th century and all that. That's a really dark chapter as well. But one of the things I really did enjoy in it is we focused on some of the more uplifting things and looking at the coming food system as our world's changing. And just as we need to sustain more people, as we need to do that in an environment that might have fewer places we can cultivate. There's a lot of very hopeful chapters in there. And for instance, the future of sorghum, how versatile and wonderful that is an ingredient. And the history of how foods have been developed before and how we're developing foods for the future now are really hopeful chapters in that too, which can kind of outweigh what you learn about chocolate and things of that
Interesting.
nature.
That is so much research and depth, and sounds fascinating. It's like perfect fireplace, sitting by the fireplace kind of book to read for hours.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can just read a short chapter about saffron, say, for
Yeah.
what, 5, 6, 7 pages, and then move on. So
Yeah.
you're done. Well, Kelty Clark-Mahoney, congratulations. to you
Yeah,
and your
congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Beautiful
very much.
co-authors. The book is called Food and World Culture. I'm going to give this for some Christmas presents. We
It's
were talking
2
about
books.
that earlier. Yeah, but they're volume 1, volume 2 because they go through the whole alphabet.
Yeah.
So it's actually just in 2 sections, 2 books.
Which conveniently, if you line them up on the shelf, because the volumes are AN and OZ, it's an ounce as it sits on the shelf, which is a
Oh.
helpful frame of reference.
Helpful frame of mind. That is fantastic.
Good job.
All right. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Coming up next, Tom.
Coming up next, we have questions from our dear audience who are just falling over asleep right now after their turkey lunch. On Cairo, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. How'd you do? So good.
Did you finish it?
I did. Does anyone want to submit last questions?
We can only probably do 5. Do you have 5? Oh, yeah.
It's gonna go rapid fire
Okay.
on some
Oh,
of them.
okay, good.
I organize them into categories, so. I want somebody to turn that
You cold?
into like a big coffee table book with photos and stuff like that, because I think the idea is so
Right there.
awesome.
There's a shop. By the way, when the show is over, we have a shop right there. Tom has a shop right there.
Okay.
And you're more than welcome to do your Christmas shopping right there.
Yeah. Uh, we're gonna need a trivia volunteer.
Oh, we've got plenty. Eamon, how's your trivia game? Good. Good. You're going to be our victim on the trivia segment. Is that cool with you? All right. Yeah, absolutely.
That's perfect.
We need every advantage we can get.
We need to look good once a year,
Even Annie beats us.
all the time. What's his name?
Eamon.
Amen.
Like AMEN, but it's not how it's spelled. All right, here we go. It's exciting to be back in the house. We have a lively group here today. The tryptophan has not quite set in yet, so we're thankful that you're all still awake. I'm Tom Douglas,
And I'm Thierry Rotiro, the chef in the hat.
and sitting in the production chair today, the producer chair, is Loretta Douglas, taking over for an ill Pam Hinckley.
Always nice to be here.
Always nice to be here. Sean's still on the technical side over there. So this is our time to take some questions from this lovely audience, and you're going to send them at us rapid fire. We're going to burn through some of these.
Yeah, we're gonna burn through them. There's actually a question for me, so we're gonna all 3 kind of go through them. We'll try and get through them as many as we can pretty quick. So let's go.
All right.
First question for your Christmas/holiday dinner. Do you go traditional or exotic? Do you switch it up? Same thing every year? What's the plan?
No pre-plan on that. It's whatever's going to come up in the mind 2 weeks beforehand. If I'm making Christmas dinner, I don't make it traditional, no.
We used to always do vegetable soup as a fitting end to the holidays, and then my nephews who came over for dinner really wanted prime rib. So then we switched over to prime rib and Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah.
But I'm back to vegetable soup.
All right, so same thing. We do Christmas Eve usually. We switch it up every year, and then Christmas Day tends to
Finish it
stick
up.
to the same.
Yeah.
And in my family, we also do Hanukkah, and it's the same every year. Lots of latkes.
I didn't know your
Um,
husband was Jewish.
You didn't? So this was a question for me. I'm going to put it to everybody. So do you make your pie crust with butter or shortening? And then do you cover your crust once it's filled to keep it from burning? What's your philosophy on both?
Butter and yes.
Butter and yes. Do you cover it the whole time?
No, just when it's needed to stop coloring.
Okay.
It's true for any baking, blind baking I do, or baking I do. If there is too much color on the color of the pie or the tart,
Before the quiche center is done,
before
you're
the
saying,
center is
yeah.
done, I usually put a little piece of aluminum foil or parchment paper, depends on what I can do, and I cover that. All you have to do when something is getting too much color, just cover the area that's colored. It will keep baking without coloring anymore.
Same.
Same for you, same for me. What is your go-to Brussels sprout recipe? Bonus points for less sugar.
Less sugar.
Sugar.
Why would you want to put sugar in
Well,
Well,
Brussels
a lot
sprout?
of people make their Brussels sprouts with some brown sugar or a little maple
They do?
syrup.
Oh God!
Yeah.
We better
I
move
guess-
on so we don't insult anybody.
I guess mine are gonna get delicious then.
I love shaving them on a mandolin and just giving a 2-minute stir fry. Lots of hot chilies and garlic.
I like to cut them in quarters and then just pan fried in a beautiful, nice hot pan. Then finish with the hot chili crisp. Simple, very simple, and it's really delicious.
We are a bacon and then roast in the oven family
Yeah,
in my house.
that's
so.
another one. What's the sugar?
We've been horrified, Terry.
I'm so disgusting.
What is the biggest difference in your restaurant or food service since reopening post-COVID? That's a big question.
The
but
big
if you
difference
had
for me
to,
is they're closed. No, the big difference when we reopened was to go.
to go.
We had to redo our restaurant into a fashion of to go, which before it was 0.1% of our business. It had to become 100% of our business. That was very difficult, especially because we were not making dishes that were necessarily always ready to go. So that was the biggest challenge we were faced with. And also to find a customer base, because I wasn't convinced that the people who were coming in my restaurant every day for dinner, sitting at a table, were going to come with their car and pick up a box of food. I wasn't convinced that was another, because it's a completely different type of thoughts and business. The only good safety is everybody was at the same level. You couldn't go into a restaurant. So that was the only good thing.
Biggest thing for me is our hours have changed dramatically, right? We've had to shorten our hours because there's just not enough people to work anymore. And there's the expense of staying open on days when you really shouldn't be open. We always just kind of ate as the cost of doing business, but now I'm much more free about just saying, okay, we're closed Mondays and Tuesdays. Or our new restaurant, Etta's Big Mountain Barbecue, is closed Tuesdays and Wednesdays, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, so whatever. So you do what you have to do.
Right.
For me, I think as somebody that's in a leadership position in the company, it's the number of employees that we have. We went from 850 all the way down to 12. Now we're at about 275. And at 275, I recognize almost everyone still at this point that works for the company. And I love that.
Mhm.
At 850, there was 500 people that I didn't ever know. So I've enjoyed knowing people more, I think, in the company.
How many jobs have you done in our company over the
Almost
years?
all of them.
I know you've been a cook at Palace.
I
You've
was
done
a catering
catering.
cook. I cooked at Palace for a bit. I've been a catering server. I've been a host at almost every one of the restaurants. I worked in the marketing department.
You're our legal
Now
counsel.
I'm legal counsel. Well, I was legal counsel before. I'm still legal counsel, and then now I'm managing director too. So
There you go.
it's been many
And pretty
jobs.
soon to
Many
be
hats.
pretty soon to be the CEO, I guess.
Yeah. This is an interesting question. What kind of sacrifices do you have to make when working in a high volume kitchen when it comes to food quality and menu diversity? We're seeing that a lot post COVID, I think,
Right,
how
right.
we can optimize for.
Well, I think the biggest sacrifice is size of the menu.
Correct.
There's a huge one, and that's probably a good thing because you turn food over faster. You sell more of the same thing and turn it over faster. So I would say you just have to be on your game. Keep training every day. Every day you can't take anything for granted. So It's not a sacrifice. That's just the way it is.
I think using the KISS rule, we use that word KISS rule, which is keep it simple, stupid kind of rule. I think that rule has definitely resurfaced more than ever. And what it means is try to be very smart about less ingredients, less inventory, mainly because you have less people working. I mean, you can't have, if you don't have eyes on the ball on the entire program, why have a program so big? Make the program smaller so you can keep a hold of it.
Yeah. And that's, I think those answers are how you get around sacrificing quality is.
Yeah, because the idea of sacrificing the quality is not true. It's just less of it, so it's actually more focused, and just like all those new restaurants you've seen open in the last 5 years, you'd go there and you'd see 10 items on the menu and be like, "Wow, that's a small menu," and you're like, "No, that's a smart menu."
Fantastic. Yeah.
Fantastic. And if you have 10 perfect items, you're so
Exactly.
much better off than
Yeah.
25 mediocre ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I always get a little nervous when I'm in places with gigantic menus because I just feel like, how can they be
When there's like 5 pages
getting
of menu,
through
you're
this?
like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
how do you
One of
do
the
that?"
first restaurants I worked at when I moved to Washington in '77 was Boondocks, Sundeckers, and Green Thumbs on Broadway, and it had a 50-page menu.
It's like that when you go to not that I've been recently, the Cheesecake Factory. It's like a binder.
Oh, there you go. It's a binder.
But you have been.
There's like, there's ads in it. When you're running a restaurant, how do you know how much food to order and how accurate can you be in ordering?
Well, the accuracy comes with the number of people who are going to pass the front door. If you bet correctly, if you think you're going to have 50 people coming, let's say every night, you buy for 50, and if it's only 35, then you have to figure out what to do with the other 15 people food. And you
Well,
ordered.
I think the point, Chef, is you don't know if those 50 people are all going to order the burger or if they're going to order soup. But after a few months of doing it, you know how many burgers you're going to sell in a nighttime on average.
Right.
Is it just a cost you build into opening in that way of like not quite knowing what your mix is going to be? Of
Yeah, I
maybe
mean, it's-
having more product
It's
than
built in, but there is,
It's organized chaos. You
Okay.
learn really quickly. What
but
to
I can
move
tell
for
you
something.
there is very little waste. I mean, I don't believe in waste in my kitchen. It's like, it's like you definitely get very smart and very quickly you get a hold of what's going on, and you figure out how to use everything when it's at its best.
All right, last one is just for Tom. What's your handicap and what's your favorite golf course in Washington?
My handicap is having my daughter as legal counsel because I can't get away with anything. That is a problem. I am a 13. And what was the last part
What's
of the
your favorite course in Washington?
Oh, in Washington. Well, I play at Broadmoor out there in the Arboretum. So I'll say that's my favorite. I don't play much outside of that. I belong to a course in Scotland called Loch Lomond Golf Club, and it's something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
On
It's-
another
it's
level.
On another level.
All right, thank you for your questions, audience.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's awesome.
All right. Stay with us for our last segment. It's Rub with Love, Food for Thought, Tasty Trivia.
Brought to
Are
you
you
by.
excited about that? And
Very
Eamon, one of our newest teammates, is going to be our victim. On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
I'm so excited. New meat. How's the pumpkin pie? It's like a pumpkin farm. Hey, I don't know if I've ever met you.
Thierry, Ben, Thierry.
I think we might have met once a while ago, probably five years ago. we met.
Right.
Yeah, so
I would not think-
that was a lot of bottles of wine ago.
Tom doesn't remember me. We met last night.
I know, he said, what was that? I was telling him, I didn't remember meeting him once. And he said, but Tom didn't remember me last night. That's because he was 7 nights into it.
No, I wasn't. I was tired.
I know that was like the least wine on Thanksgiving we've had ever, I think, because your parents don't really drink.
Normally I drink a full Magnum.
And what happened yesterday?
I just had a cold. I was like,
Yeah.
and I was playing with
Well, we only had
the kid.
11 people. 2 of them don't really drink, and then yeah.
We were playing baseball in the garage.
I walked out there. He's in like ski goggles.
You didn't want to hurt him?
Rolling around
No,
on the
I was
floor.
a ski goggle.
Oh, you're the ski goggle. I thought he was roaring at the ski goggle.
He swings that bat, man. He went and found the bat that I keep by my bed in case of an intruder.
Uh-huh.
And so he was like,
A real bat.
a real mini bat.
Wow.
He's only
He's
tried
like you. He's got,
to beat me with it one time.
he's beefy.
That was your fault.
Good for him.
He gets the bat and he just squats down like hilarious.
Pitch, pitch, pitch.
Pitch, pitch. Okay, you guys ready for the last segment?
Anybody
Already?
watching the World Cup today?
Eamon, you want to come up to the mic?
Anybody watching the World Cup today?
Ben's
Soccer
been
World Cup?
watching it on
Nobody.
his phone back there.
Yeah?
Nobody.
Ben's
Nobody
been
cares.
watching it on his phone back there.
How's the US doing, Ben? All right.
86 minutes?
Tie game.
86 minutes, 0-0.
Yeah, Tom. 90 minutes.
Like right here.
No, even closer.
Get right up in
Eamon,
there.
Look at me. Listen to me. Listen to me. You hear the difference?
I'm listening.
Okay. So just be right up tight to it, right up here where you can really hear that.
Yes, sir.
Eamon, what's your
How do you-
last name?
Monahan.
Monahan?
How do you spell your name? Amen.
We're like
E-A-
very Irish in here between you and Kelsey.
Mononn.
Cool. Iman. Okay.
Little pumpkin mousse, huh?
Where's it from?
It's Irish.
God, I'm going to go to your country soon.
Yeah, I was listening.
I'm going to see how many people I'm going to meet that are called Iman.
Uh,
Is there a lot of it?
It-
common
it's
name?
pretty certainly more common there than it is here.
Right. Because I've never heard them.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, I do. Alors, vous comprenez? You just do a little French. I do French accent. You
You,
can do-
yeah, I'll,
You
I'll
can do
steer
the
clear
Irish.
of that.
That's going to be cool.
Okay, we're going to finish strong.
All right. How many of you listen to the show every week?
Couple of them,
How
good.
many of you listen to the show sometime? What's wrong with the other people? Why are you here?
How many were forced to come today? Yeah.
Thank you for saying the truth.
Okay.
So far, so good?
Yeah, his plate was empty. I know that.
He's like, I like this radio show. They feed you. All right.
Ready, chef?
Yep.
Eamon.
Ready.
No.
Monahan.
Monahan. Monahan.
Correct.
All right. We just met at my class on Tuesday night, right? Wasn't that first time?
That's right.
Yeah. All right, here we go. It's time for Food for Thought Tasty Trivia, brought to you by Rub with Love Spice Rubs, my very own line of spices sold throughout the country and throughout the world. I also have sauces and mustards. We think you need a big assortment of them in your pantry, especially over the holiday season, because it makes life easy. You know, you saw today, Chef, when I made my gravy,
Absolutely.
I used my mushroom rub as a gravy helper. It's perfect for that. Look for them at your local grocery stores like PCC, Whole Foods, Met Markets, up north at the Town and Countries, locations, the markets in Anacortes and Birch Bay, or east at Yokes. I just went to Yokes in the Tri-City the other day. It's a nice little grocery store. They have 19 locations in eastern Washington, Idaho. Of course, many, many more. 5,000 retail locations around the country. Loretta, our producer Loretta, will you tell us how to play the game and who we're playing for? Who's going to be our winner today?
All right. So the game is 5 trivia questions per contestant. We have the 3 of you up here as contestants. Today's trivia was written by our very own Rub with Love manager, Carol Bausch.
A
So
ro-
She does great.
She
They
listens
should
to our
be-
show every
yeah.
week.
extra spicy.
Yeah. Good.
And
Who's our contestant?
I don't know who's going to be our contestant today.
Amy Monahan.
Our third contestant. I thought you said, who are we playing for?
I did say that also.
Our third contestant today is Eamon Monahan. He is brand new chef at the Hot Stove Society, and we are putting him right on the spot here.
Welcome.
He did not know he was going to be asked to do this up until a couple of minutes ago. So,
Well, I don't know anything that's going to happen here until a couple of minutes.
Oh, really?
beforehand, so it fits right in.
well, here's what you should know: is that we are always looking for our next victim, Eamon, and that's just the way it is.
It's the best out of 5. And
Unfortunately, we don't often find them.
yeah,
Usually, they crush us.
we get crushed every time.
Okay. You ready?
What are we playing for today?
We're playing for a 3-pack of Rub with Love. There's the Harvest Trio over there. I would suggest taking a mushroom with you today at some point. In our gift shop. Our gift shop is just stocked full of.
Great.
We have little red boxes. You can make your own 3-packs.
And who's
Perfect.
going to be the recipient of that?
The winner today is going to be the gentleman in the audience that was forced here by his significant
Yes.
other.
The last time you'll have slander us.
Yeah, no. Next time he's going to come with 17 people.
Yeah.
He did say he enjoyed his time, even though he was brought here against his will. So, all right, let's play.
All right, I start.
Terry first.
Go ahead.
All right. In the 1982 movie E.T. the Extraterrestrial, what candy did they use to lure E.T. out of hiding?
It has to be a Mars bar. He was from somewhere else.
That's pretty funny, actually. But
I
it's,
mean, what else
it's
would
pretty
you-
wrong.
The guy's extraterrestrial. What do you give him? A Mars bar.
Yeah.
It's going to look just like home. Oh.
It was not, in fact, a Mars bar. It was Reese's Pieces.
Oh, wow.
I would have got it wrong. I would have said M&M's.
You would have been a
Reese's
little
Pieces.
closer.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2. What is nougat?
Oh, almond and sugar. Basically, that's what it is. An egg white.
Correct. Nougat is a fluffy, aerated confection made of sugar or honey and egg whites. Often contains fruit and nuts.
Yeah, and then it's dried, and it's the stuff you buy at the store that looks like a dry bar. And when you chew on it, it's very lovely to your teeth.
I love nougat. Okay, number 3. When making candy at home, what temperature is the hardball stage?
185. I'm gonna guess that one out of my hat. No, it's probably higher.
250 to
Oh, yeah.
266.
Yeah, of course.
You were close, Chef. Just 100
But I was
degrees off.
halfway there. I was halfway there, not awake.
Okay, number 4. Cotton candy made its premiere at the 1908 World's Fair in Tennessee.
Yes.
Was it created by A, a restaurant owner, B, a dentist, C, a blacksmith, or D, a country singer?
The blacksmith.
That's incorrect. It was created by a dentist.
Okay, that was the other nice option.
He was looking to increase his patience.
That was cool.
Dentist William Morrison.
I think the iron guy would have been more fun.
All right.
All right, number 5. In the movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, what is an Oompa Loompa?
I'm gonna say it's a chocolate bar.
They look a little bit like you right now.
A sad little,
A sad little man.
little chocolate. I don't know.
They're the factory workers in the Willy
Oh.
Wonka's chocolate factory. All right, you are 1 for 5 today.
1 for 5. I'm brilliant.
Nice try, Chef.
Really. Thank you for the applause. That's really not necessary. There's gonna be better to applaud.
Okay,
to.
Amen.
We're
See,
going
I
to
told you
Eamon
we're going to
next.
crush you.
Oh, yeah. I'm very intimidated so far.
It's
Ooh,
working. It's
Shot
working.
over the bow.
2 days in and he's fiery.
Wow.
Kill him. Go, go.
All right, Eamon, you're up. Question number 1. What does it mean to temper chocolate?
To temper chocolate would be to bring it up to a certain temperature and then to add what's called seed chocolate that's in solid form.
Okay. Can we have somebody else play this game? Seed chocolate. I know he's right. Dang it.
Actually, the right answer is to bring it up to temperature and then down to temperature, so you can actually bring it up so it doesn't separate.
He knew what he was talking about.
You know exactly what he's doing. I was trying to be like,
Okay, Question 2, is there milk in chocolate? Is there milk in milk chocolate?
Yes.
Correct.
I like how smart he is. Yes. It's
In
a good
order to
answer.
be considered milk chocolate, the candy must contain 12% or more milk. Number 3, what is white chocolate?
That would be just cocoa butter without the addition of any cocoa solids.
Correct. Wow, he's killing you, Terry. It is made from cocoa butter, sugar, and milk solids. Number 4, what are the typical ingredients of a marshmallow?
That's going to be gelatin and candied sugar
Egg white?
and egg white.
This says
Correct.
no
So
egg
There's
white.
no egg white. There's no egg white.
This says sugar.
You should
corn
answer your
syrup, and
questions as opposed to mine.
Corn syrup was probably the one missing thing there.
Great. We're gonna do 0.5.
0.5. Oh, wow. You can't lose. I like
Okay,
that.
number 5, last question. True or false? The candy cane was invented in 1670 to keep children quiet.
False.
That's true. Legend has it that the candy cane dates back to 1670 when the choir master at a cathedral handed out sugar sticks among his young singers to keep them quiet. There you go.
Wow. Still,
All
is
right, we are at 1,
3
2,
point-
3.5
3.5
out of
out of
5
5.
here.
You beat my one by a lot. But that was
All right.
expected.
Father dearest.
All right,
Yeah.
Tom.
Let's do it. Question 1. What is the best-selling candy in the USA?
Reese's bar, a Reese's cup.
That's true.
Wow, who knew?
Well, you're bringing the Reese's back, and it's the right answer.
Number 2, true or false? Pralines were created in New Orleans in 1922.
I think they're called pralines.
No, she was right. Praline is right.
Is it prey?
Yeah,
It's
praline.
either.
It's
I think
Praline.
Boy, did they have a French origin before that? Because New Orleans is French Creole, right? So I'm going to say true.
It is false. You were on the
Ah,
right track.
Yeah.
Believe that pralines were brought over from France by the Ursuline nuns who came to New Orleans in 1727.
Those damn nuns. You know, I grew up for 12 years with those nuns, and they never gave me a praline. They mostly just smacked me upside the head.
You know what the other term, the slang term for praline in France is when I punch you, I send you a praline.
Oh, really?
No joke.
Question 3. How much candy does the average American consume in a year? Is it A, 2 pounds, B, 5 pounds, C, 8 pounds, or D, 10 pounds?
Does that include Fran's gold bars?
For you,
'Cause if
yes.
it does, then it's 8 pounds.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
8 pounds of candy with children eating even
You don't get a
more.
body like mine without eating a bit of candy.
Question 4. True or false? Bubble gum was a mistake invention.
Definitely a mistake.
Yeah.
That is true. Walter Dimer in 1928 was discovered bubblegum by accident while experimenting in the lab during his breaks.
So the question is, which bubble gum did he invent? Was
Do you
it
know?
Double Bubble or Joe Bazooka?
Do you know?
I don't. My guess is Double Bubble.
It was double bubble.
Yeah. Well, extra point there. Thank you very much.
I think so. I think it's
Um,
at least
maybe-
a half a point.
Okay, last question. This is for the win here,
Ooh,
if you get it.
pressure.
So, in the 1994 movie Forrest Gump, how did Forrest describe life?
Like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
There you go.
So you take a bite.
Okay, a winner,
That's
winner.
why he always took a bite out of each chocolate. But I do believe his mother described it that way to him. Is that true?
Talk to Carol.
Schooling the
Talk
attorney
to
over
Carol.
here.
She wrote the questions.
Thank you,
was-
Carol Bausch,
that was awesome,
the
Tom.
Rub director. Thank you, Eamon, for being a good sport.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
If you want to be part of the show, you can join the community on YouTube Live at Tom Douglas & Co. on Thursday mornings from 9 to 11, or buy a ticket to join us in the studio here at HotStoveSociety.com. You're listening to us on Cairo. The show is produced by Loretta today instead of Miss Hinkley. Sean McFadden is our technical wizard, and our editor is Sean Don't Call Me Del Torre. Remember, if you miss any episode of our Hot Stove Society show in Cairo, you can listen via podcast. Just subscribe with your favorite podcast app.
Thanks for listening and have a fabulous weekend.
Woo! Fabulous. There we go. Okay. Everybody, including Annie Elmore, we could use a good quiet on the set for a minute. All set?
Yep.
We just need quiet so we can cut this commercial in. I'm Chef Tom Douglas.
And I'm Thierry Roturo, the chef in the hat.
Today, we're going to talk about traveling with Terry and 58 stars over to Ireland and Portugal, a fascinating book on food and world culture that traces the impact of 75 different ingredients on society and insightful questions from our audience. Why not?
That's it.
All good? All right, good. Thank you,
Hey.
everyone.
It's a wrap.